Resist. How to say no, stay strong, and take control. Introduction. In a world that constantly bombards us with demands, expectations, and endless opportunities for distraction, it's easy to feel as though we are merely passengers in our own lives. We often find ourselves saying yes when every fiber of our being screams no, agreeing to commitments that drain our energy and allowing others to dictate our paths. This pervasive tendency to cede control, to shy away from asserting our true desires, leads to a life lived on someone else's terms, a life often marked by resentment, exhaustion, and a profound sense of unfulfillment. The cost of this passive existence is immense. It erodes our self-worth, stifles our potential, and ultimately prevents us from crafting the life we genuinely desire. We become victims of circumstance, blaming external factors for our unhappiness, rather than recognizing the immense power we hold within ourselves to shape our reality. The truth is, genuine freedom and lasting contentment are not found in external validation or endless accommodation. They are forged in the crucible of self-responsibility, the courage to say no, and the unwavering commitment to stand firmly in who we are. This book, Resist, is an invitation to reclaim that power. It is a guide for anyone who has ever felt overwhelmed by external pressures, struggled to voice their needs, or found themselves trapped in cycles of people-pleasing. We will explore the profound implications of taking full ownership of your life, your choices, your reactions, and your destiny. We will dissect the art and science of saying no with grace and conviction, transforming it from a source of anxiety into a powerful tool for self-preservation and intentional living. And crucially, we will equip you with the strategies and mindset necessary to stand strong, advocate for yourself, and navigate a world that often seeks to diminish your autonomy. Resist is not about becoming selfish or aggressive. It is about cultivating a deep respect for yourself, your time, and your values. It is about understanding that your well-being is not a luxury, but a fundamental necessity, and that protecting it is your inherent right and responsibility. By the end of this journey, you will possess the clarity, courage, and practical tools to shed the burden of external expectations, embrace your authentic self, and finally take the reins of your own remarkable life. Let's begin the journey of resistance. Resistance against external control, resistance against self-doubt, and resistance for the sake of a life truly lived. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Self-Responsibility. At the heart of a life lived on your own terms lies a concept that is both simple and profoundly transformative: self-responsibility. It's a term often misunderstood, sometimes mistaken for blame or an oppressive burden. However, true self-responsibility is the very opposite of a burden. It is the ultimate liberation. It is the conscious decision to acknowledge that you are the primary architect of your experiences, your reactions, and your future. What does it truly mean to be self-responsible? It means recognizing that while you cannot control every event or every person you encounter, you absolutely control how you respond to them. It means owning your choices, your actions, and even your inactions. It means stepping away from the tempting but ultimately disempowering narrative of victimhood, where external circumstances or other people are perpetually at fault for your current state. Consider the pervasive victim mentality. This mindset attributes one's misfortunes, frustrations, and lack of progress to external forces. My boss is unfair. I don't have enough time because of my family. The economy is bad, so I can't succeed. While these external factors may indeed present challenges, the victim mentality stops at identification, rarely moving to proactive problem-solving or internal adjustment. It fosters a sense of helplessness, a belief that one is at the mercy of forces beyond their control. This perspective, while offering temporary solace in avoiding accountability, ultimately traps individuals in a cycle of stagnation and resentment. The illusion of external control is a powerful one. Society often encourages it, subtly reinforcing the idea that our happiness, success, or even our identity is contingent upon external validation, approval, or circumstances. We are taught to seek solutions outside ourselves. New jobs, new relationships, more money, different environments, believing that these external changes will magically resolve our internal disquiet. While external factors can certainly influence our lives, true sustainable change always begins from within. Taking ownership of your thoughts, feelings, and actions is the cornerstone of self-responsibility. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you consistently dwell on negativity or limitations, you will perceive and create more of the same. Your feelings, while often triggered by external events, are ultimately your internal responses. Learning to process and manage them empowers you to choose your emotional state rather than being a slave to it. And your actions, or lack thereof, directly determine your outcomes. When you accept that your current situation is, to a significant degree, a result of your past choices and responses, you unlock the power to make different choices and create different outcomes in the future. This isn't to say that life is always fair, or that bad things don't happen to good people. Life is inherently unpredictable, and external challenges are inevitable. Self-responsibility is not about denying these realities. It's about choosing your posture in the face of them. It's about asking, given this situation, what is my responsibility here? What can I do? How can I respond in a way that aligns with my values and moves me closer to my goals? The freedom that comes with embracing self-responsibility is profound. When you stop waiting for someone else to fix your problems, when you stop blaming others for your struggles, you reclaim your agency. You realize that you possess an inherent capacity to adapt, to learn, to grow, and to create. This shift in perspective is empowering because it places the locus of control squarely within you. It transforms you from a passive recipient of life's events into an active participant, a co-creator of your destiny. Embracing self-responsibility means acknowledging your role, understanding that you are not just a reactor, but an actor in your life's narrative. Taking initiative, proactively seeking solutions and opportunities rather than waiting for them to appear. Learning from mistakes, viewing failures not as reasons for despair, but as valuable lessons for growth. Managing your emotions, developing the capacity to process difficult feelings without letting them dictate your behavior. Setting boundaries, recognizing your limits, and communicating them clearly, a topic we will delve into deeply. This foundational shift is the first crucial step toward building a life of strength, intentionality, and genuine control. Without it, attempts to say no or stand up for yourself will often feel like temporary fixes, lacking the deep roots of conviction that self-responsibility provides. By accepting this truth, you lay the groundwork for all the powerful transformations that follow. Chapter 2. Understanding your boundaries. If self-responsibility is the bedrock of a controlled life, then boundaries are the fences that define your property. They are the invisible lines you draw to protect your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual space. Without clear, well-maintained boundaries, your personal resources, your time, energy, peace of mind, become vulnerable to depletion by the demands and expectations of others. So, what exactly are boundaries? Simply put, they are limits you set for yourself in interactions with others. They communicate what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in your relationships and daily life. They are not about building walls to keep people out, but rather about creating a healthy container that allows for respectful and sustainable connection. Why are boundaries essential? Imagine a house without walls or a garden without a fence. It would be exposed to every element, every passerby, every potential intrusion. Your personal space is no different. Without boundaries, you become susceptible to burnout, constantly saying yes to others' requests, even when you're already overloaded, leads to exhaustion. Resentment. When your needs are consistently overlooked or violated, you build up bitterness towards those you feel are taking advantage of you. Loss of identity. When you're always adapting to others' desires, you lose touch with your own preferences, values, and goals. Emotional depletion. Absorbing others' emotional burdens without protecting your own emotional space can leave you drained. Lack of progress. Your own projects, dreams, and self-care often fall by the wayside when you prioritize everyone else's agenda. There are various types of boundaries, and understanding them helps in identifying where you might need to strengthen yours. Physical boundaries. These relate to your personal space, body, and physical possessions. Examples include discomfort with unwanted touch, needing personal space in a crowd, or not wanting someone to borrow your car without asking. Emotional boundaries. These protect your feelings and emotional energy. They involve not taking responsibility for others' emotions, not allowing others to dump their emotional baggage on you without your consent, and not being manipulated by guilt or emotional blackmail. Mental, intellectual boundaries. These pertain to your thoughts, opinions, and beliefs. They involve respecting your right to your own opinions, not allowing others to invalidate your thoughts, and not engaging in debates that feel disrespectful or draining. Time boundaries. Perhaps one of the most crucial in our busy world. These protect your time and energy. They involve saying no to extra commitments, setting limits on how much time you spend on certain tasks or with certain people, and protecting your personal time for rest and rejuvenation. Material, financial boundaries, and money. They involve setting limits on lending money, sharing belongings, or allowing others to dictate your financial decisions. A powerful exercise is to identify your current boundaries, or the lack thereof. Reflect on situations where you felt uncomfortable, taken advantage of, or resentful. What was the underlying boundary that was crossed? Did you feel obligated to attend an event you didn't want to? Time boundary. Did someone make a comment that made you feel small or disrespected? Emotional, mental boundary. Did a colleague dump their work on you, leaving you overwhelmed? Time, work boundary. Do you constantly lend money that isn't returned? Material, financial boundary. Often, the biggest hurdle to setting boundaries is the fear of doing so. We worry about hurting others' feelings. We are conditioned to be polite and accommodating, and saying no can feel inherently impolite. Being disliked or rejected, we fear that setting limits will make us seem difficult or uncooperative, leading to isolation. Conflict. Many people avoid confrontation at all costs, and boundaries can sometimes lead to initial friction. Guilt. We might feel guilty for prioritizing our own needs over someone else's, especially if they express disappointment. Being seen as selfish. There's a misconception that self-care and boundary setting are selfish acts. It's vital to understand that these fears are often rooted in past experiences or societal conditioning. However, true healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, and respect includes acknowledging and honoring each other's boundaries. When you set a boundary, you are not being mean. You are being clear. You are teaching others how to treat you, and in doing so, you are teaching yourself that your needs matter. Recognizing your boundaries is the first step. The next, and often more challenging step, is to communicate and enforce them. This brings us directly to the art of saying no, which is often the sharpest tool in your boundary-setting kit. Chapter 3. The Art of Saying No. The word no is arguably one of the most powerful and liberating words in any language, yet for many, it feels like the hardest to utter. It is a complete sentence, requiring no further explanation or justification, though we often feel compelled to provide an elaborate apology or excuse. Mastering the art of saying no is not about being unhelpful or unkind. It is about protecting your most valuable resources, your time, your energy, and your peace of mind. Why do we struggle so much to say no? The reasons are deeply ingrained and multifaceted. Guilt. We feel guilty for disappointing someone, especially if they are a friend, family member, or colleague. We internalize their potential disappointment as our failure. Fear of rejection or disapproval. We worry that saying no will lead to others disliking us, judging us, or excluding us. Our desire for acceptance often overrides our need for self-preservation. Desire to please. Many of us are conditioned from a young age to be agreeable and helpful. We derive a sense of worth from being seen as the good one or the reliable one. Fear of conflict. Saying no can sometimes lead to pushback or an uncomfortable conversation, which many people prefer to avoid at all costs. Obligation. We feel a sense of duty, especially towards those we care about, even if fulfilling the request is detrimental to our own well-being. FOMO, fear of missing out. We might say yes to opportunities we don't truly want, just in case we miss something better or important. Lack of clarity. Sometimes we don't even know what we want or need, making it difficult to assert our boundaries. Understanding these underlying fears is the first step towards overcoming them. Recognize that these are often internal narratives, not necessarily external realities. Most reasonable people will respect your boundaries once they are clearly communicated. Now, let's explore techniques for saying no, gracefully but firmly. Be direct and clear. Avoid vague language or hinting. A simple, "No, I can't do that," or "No, that doesn't work for me," is often sufficient. Instead of, "Oh, I'm not sure if I can. I have a lot on my plate, maybe." Try, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to." Keep it concise. You don't owe anyone a lengthy explanation or an apology. The more you explain, the more room you give for negotiation or guilt-tripping. A brief reason, if you choose to give one, is fine, but it's not mandatory. Good. I appreciate the offer, but I'm unable to take on anything new right now. Less good. I'd love to, but my dog just got sick, and my aunt is visiting, and I also have to finish this report for work, so I really can't. I'm so sorry. Use I statements. Frame your refusal from your perspective, focusing on your capacity and needs. This avoids sounding accusatory or blaming. Example, "I don't have the capacity for that right now," or "I need to prioritize my rest this weekend." Offer an alternative. Optional. If you genuinely want to be helpful but cannot fulfill the specific request, you can offer an alternative solution or refer them to someone else. This softens the no without compromising your boundary. Example, "I can't help with that project, but perhaps Sarah could, or I could offer advice on Tuesday next week." Only if you mean it. Buy yourself time. If you're caught off guard or need to assess your schedule, energy, it's perfectly acceptable to say, "Let me check my calendar and get back to you." Or, "I need to think about that and will let you know by specific time." This prevents impulsive yeses you'll regret. Practice in low-stakes situations. Start small. Say no to a minor request from a friend or decline an optional social event. Each successful no builds your confidence for bigger challenges. Anticipate pushback. Some people are not accustomed to hearing no from you and may try to persuade you. Be prepared to repeat your no calmly and firmly without getting drawn into an argument. Them, "Are you sure? It won't take long." You, "Yes, I'm sure." My answer remains no. Say no to yourself, internal no. This is just as important. Say no to distractions, to procrastination, to negative self-talk, to unhealthy habits. This internal discipline reinforces your external boundary setting. The power of a well-placed no for time management and energy preservation cannot be overstated. Every no to something that doesn't serve you is a yes to something that does, whether it's your personal goals, your well-being, or simply much-needed rest. It creates space in your life for what truly matters. allowing you to allocate your precious resources intentionally. Learning to say no is a continuous practice, not a one-time achievement. There will be times when it feels uncomfortable, but with each assertion, you reinforce your self-worth and teach others how to treat you. It is a fundamental act of self-care and a vital step towards taking control of your life's narrative. Chapter 4. Standing up for yourself. Beyond the crucial act of saying no lies the broader, equally vital skill of standing up for yourself. This isn't about being aggressive, confrontational, or demanding. It's about self-advocacy, the ability to clearly and respectfully communicate your needs, opinions, and boundaries, ensuring they are heard and acknowledged. It's about asserting your inherent worth and right to be treated with dignity. Defining self-advocacy means speaking up for your own interests. It's about being your own champion. This includes expressing your opinions, even if they differ from the majority. Negotiating for what you deserve, e.g., a raise, better working conditions. Correcting misinformation or unfair accusations about yourself. Protecting your time and energy from unreasonable demands. Setting expectations in relationships. Addressing disrespectful behavior. Recognizing when you need to stand up for yourself requires self-awareness and attentiveness to your feelings. Pay attention to resentment. If you feel a simmering anger or frustration towards someone, it often signals that a boundary has been crossed or a need is unmet. Feeling unheard or ignored. If your contributions are consistently overlooked or your voice is silenced. Being taken advantage of. If you find yourself repeatedly doing more than your fair share or being burdened by others' responsibilities. Disrespectful treatment. If you are belittled, dismissed, or treated with a lack of consideration. Violation of values. If a situation or request goes against your core beliefs or ethical standards. Physical or emotional drain. If certain interactions consistently leave you exhausted or upset. Once you identify the need, the next step is to communicate effectively. This is where assertive communication comes into play, a crucial distinction from passive or aggressive communication. Passive communication. You avoid expressing your needs, opinions, or feelings, often leading to resentment and being taken advantage of. E.g., "It's fine, I guess," when it's not. Aggressive communication. You express your needs in a way that is hostile, demanding, or disrespectful of others' rights. E.g., "You always do this. You need to stop." Assertive communication. You express your needs, opinions, and feelings clearly, directly, and respectfully, while also respecting the rights of others. E.g., "I feel emotion," when specific action, because impact on you. "I need what you need." Request. Techniques for expressing your needs and opinions clearly. Statements. As with saying no, frame your communication around your feelings and experiences. This makes it less accusatory and more about your perspective. Instead of "you always interrupt me," try "I feel unheard when I'm interrupted, and I'd appreciate it if you let me finish my thought." Be specific and objective. Describe the behavior or situation that is problematic, rather than making generalizations or personal attacks. Instead of "you're so inconsiderate," try "when you arrive late to our meetings, it makes it difficult for us to stay on schedule." State your need, request clearly. Don't assume others will magically know what you want. Articulate your desired outcome. Example: "I need you to respect my decision," or "I would appreciate it if you could give me advanced notice next time." Maintain calm demeanor. Even if you feel angry or frustrated, try to keep your voice even and your body language open, or at least neutral. Emotional outbursts can derail the conversation. Active listening. Even when asserting, be prepared to listen to the other person's perspective. Self-advocacy is about mutual respect, not a monologue. Dealing with pushback and criticism is an inevitable part of standing up for yourself. Not everyone will respond positively, especially if they are used to you being more passive. Stay calm and repeat. If they try to argue or deflect, calmly reiterate your point without getting defensive. I understand you see it differently, but this is how I feel, what I need. Don't justify or over-explain. You have a right to your feelings and needs. You don't need to win an argument or convince them. Know when to disengage. If the other person becomes aggressive, dismissive, or refuses to listen, it's okay to end the conversation and revisit it later, or decide that further discussion is unproductive. I can see we're not getting anywhere right now. Let's talk about this later. Focus on the outcome, not their approval. Your goal is to assert your needs, not necessarily to gain their immediate approval or agreement. Building self-confidence through self-advocacy is a powerful reciprocal process. Each time you successfully speak up for yourself, you reinforce the belief that your voice matters, that your needs are valid, and that you are capable of protecting yourself. This builds a virtuous cycle. Increased confidence leads to more assertive behavior, which in turn further boosts confidence. It's a muscle that strengthens with use, empowering you to navigate life with greater conviction and control. Chapter 5. Navigating relationships with new boundaries. Setting boundaries and standing up for yourself inevitably impacts your relationships. For some, these changes will be met with understanding and respect, leading to healthier, more authentic connections. For others, particularly those who have benefited from your previous lack of boundaries, there may be resistance, confusion, or even outright conflict. Navigating this transition requires patience, clear communication, and a strong commitment to your newfound self-respect. The impact of new boundaries on existing relationships can vary wildly. Positive outcomes. Increased respect. Healthy relationships thrive on mutual respect. When you respect yourself enough to set boundaries, others who value you will often mirror that respect. Authenticity. You can show up more genuinely, without the resentment or pretense that comes from constantly people-pleasing. This allows for deeper, more honest connections. Reduced conflict, long-term. While there might be initial friction, clear boundaries prevent the slow buildup of resentment that often leads to explosive arguments down the line. Challenging outcomes. Confusion, surprise. People accustomed to your old patterns may be genuinely surprised by your new assertiveness. Resistance, pushback. Those who benefited from your lack of boundaries may actively resist your changes, seeing them as an inconvenience or a personal slight. They might try to guilt-trip you, manipulate you, or even get angry. Testing. Some individuals may repeatedly test your new boundaries to see if you're serious. Relationship shift, loss. In some cases, relationships that were solely built on your people-pleasing tendencies may not survive the introduction of healthy boundaries. This can be painful, but is often a necessary step for your well-being. Communicating your changes to others is crucial. Don't just suddenly start saying no without any context, especially in close relationships. Choose the right time and place. Have these conversations when you are calm and when you have the other person's undivided attention. Use I statements. Again, focus on your needs and feelings. I've realized I need to manage my time better, or I'm learning to prioritize my energy. Be clear and direct. State the boundary simply and without apology. I won't be able to stay late at work anymore, or I won't be discussing my finances with family. Explain briefly if you choose. You can offer a concise explanation of why you're setting the boundary, but remember, you don't owe anyone a detailed justification. I'm setting this boundary because I've been feeling overwhelmed, or I need more personal time to recharge. Set expectations. Let them know what to expect from you moving forward. From now on, I'll need at least 24 hours notice for requests. Or I'll be checking my phone less on weekends. Dealing with resistance from others requires a firm but compassionate approach. Anticipate and validate without giving in. Acknowledge their feelings. I understand this might be disappointing for you, but don't let their disappointment sway you from your boundary. Reiterate calmly. If they push back, calmly repeat your boundary. You don't need to get into a debate. I hear you, but my decision stands. Don't justify or argue. Avoid getting drawn into arguments or defending your right to have boundaries. Your right is inherent. Hold firm. The most important thing is to consistently enforce your boundaries. Inconsistency teaches others that your no can be negotiated. Consequences, if necessary. For persistent boundary violators, you may need to implement consequences, such as limiting contact or disengaging from conversations. Knowing when to distance yourself from toxic relationships is perhaps the most challenging aspect. If, despite your clear communication and consistent boundary setting, someone repeatedly disrespects your limits, manipulates you, or actively undermines your well-being, it may be time to re-evaluate the relationship. Red flags: constant guilt, tripping, emotional blackmail, disrespect for your time, space, belittling your feelings, refusal to acknowledge your needs. Prioritize your peace. Your mental and emotional health are paramount. If a relationship consistently drains you and leaves you feeling worse, it's not serving you. Gradual distancing. You don't always have to cut people off entirely. You can reduce contact, limit the topics you discuss, or only interact in specific, controlled environments. Seek support. Talk to trusted friends, family, or a therapist about difficult relationships. Finally, cultivating relationships that respect your boundaries is the ultimate goal. As you become clearer about your limits, you will naturally attract people who value and respect them. Model the behavior. When you respect your own boundaries, you implicitly teach others to do the same. Seek reciprocity. Look for relationships where there is a healthy give and take, where both parties' needs are considered. Communicate appreciation. When someone respects your boundaries, acknowledge and appreciate it. This reinforces positive behavior. Build a supportive network. Surround yourself with people who uplift you, encourage your growth, and understand your need for self-care. Navigating relationships with new boundaries is a journey of refinement. It requires courage, self-awareness, and a willingness to sometimes make difficult choices. But the reward is a life filled with more authentic connections, greater peace, and a profound sense of integrity. Chapter 6. Overcoming internal resistance. While external pressures and challenging relationships present significant hurdles, one of the most formidable adversaries in the journey of taking control is often found within ourselves: internal resistance. This manifests as self-doubt, the nagging voice of the inner critic, the pull of old habits, and the subtle ways we sabotage our own efforts to stand strong. The inner critic is a powerful force. It's that voice that tells you you're not good enough, that you're being selfish, that you'll fail, or that others will abandon you if you assert yourself. This critic often stems from past experiences, societal conditioning, or even well-meaning but misguided messages from childhood. It thrives on fear and insecurity, constantly seeking to keep you small and safe within your comfort zone, even if that zone is one of unhappiness and unfulfillment. Self-doubt, the companion of the inner critic, paralyzes action. It makes you question your right to set boundaries, your ability to follow through, and the validity of your own needs. It whispers, "Who are you to say no?" or "Are you really worth protecting?" Another form of internal resistance comes from impure motives. Sometimes we say yes, not out of genuine desire to help, but out of a desperate need for external validation. We crave approval, fear being seen as bad, or believe our worth is tied to how much we do for others. This people-pleasing tendency, while seemingly altruistic, is actually a form of self-abandonment. It means sacrificing your own well-being on the altar of others' opinions, leading to a hollow sense of achievement. Overcoming these internal obstacles requires a conscious and consistent effort to reframe your thinking and cultivate a more supportive inner landscape. Challenge the inner critic. Don't accept its pronouncements as truth. When the critical voice speaks, question it. Is this thought truly accurate? What evidence do I have to support it? What's an alternative, more compassionate perspective? Often, the critic's statements are exaggerated or based on old, outdated beliefs. Practice self-compassion. Instead of beating yourself up for past failures or current struggles, treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a good friend. Recognize that learning to say no and stand up for yourself is a process, and setbacks are a natural part of growth. Forgive yourself for moments of weakness and recommit to your path. Identify and address impure motives. Become aware of why you're saying yes or avoiding confrontation. Is it genuine generosity, or is it a fear of disapproval? If it's the latter, gently remind yourself that your worth is intrinsic, not dependent on external validation. Your value doesn't increase by saying yes to every demand, nor does it decrease by saying no when necessary. Visualize success. Before a challenging conversation or a moment where you need to assert yourself, mentally rehearse the scenario. See yourself speaking clearly, calmly, and confidently. Visualize a positive outcome, or at least a respectful one. This mental preparation can reduce anxiety and build self-efficacy. Celebrate small victories. Every time you successfully say no, set a boundary or express a need, acknowledge it. No matter how small the win, celebrate it. This positive reinforcement helps to rewire your brain, associating self-assertion with positive feelings rather than fear. Build resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity. In the context of internal resistance, it means developing the mental fortitude to persist even when things feel uncomfortable or when you face internal doubts. Mindfulness. Practice being present and observing your thoughts and feelings without judgment. This helps you detach from the inner critic's narrative. Positive affirmations. Regularly repeat statements that reinforce your worth and strength, such as, "My needs are valid," or "I am worthy of respect." Seek support. Talk to a trusted friend, mentor, or therapist about your internal struggles. External perspectives can be invaluable in challenging limiting beliefs. The journey of overcoming internal resistance is a continuous one. It requires patience, self-awareness, and a deep commitment to your own well-being. By diligently working on these inner aspects, you build an unshakable foundation of self-belief that empowers you to face external challenges with unwavering strength and conviction. You learn to be your own greatest ally, rather than your own harshest critic. Chapter 7. Living a Life of Intentionality and Control. Having explored the foundations of self-responsibility, the power of boundaries, the art of saying no, and the courage to stand up for yourself, we now arrive at the ultimate reward: living a life of intentionality and control. This isn't about micromanaging every moment, but rather about consciously designing your life to align with your deepest values, goals, and aspirations, rather than simply reacting to whatever comes your way. Many people drift through life, allowing external circumstances, other people's agendas, or societal expectations to dictate their paths. They react to emails, respond to demands, and fill their schedules with obligations that don't truly resonate. This reactive mode, while common, leads to a sense of being perpetually busy, but rarely productive in meaningful ways. Designing your life begins with clarity. You cannot control what you haven't defined. Identify your core values. What truly matters to you? Is it freedom, creativity, connection, security, growth, contribution? Your values are your compass. They should guide your decisions. Define your vision. What does your ideal life look like? What kind of person do you want to be? What experiences do you want to have? What impact do you want to make? Be specific. Set clear goals. Based on your values and vision, establish concrete, measurable goals across different areas of your life: career, relationships, health, personal development. Prioritizing your values and goals becomes much easier once you've clearly defined them. Every request, every opportunity, every potential commitment can then be filtered through this lens. Does this align with my values? Does it move me closer to my goals? If the answer is no, then saying no becomes not just a boundary, but a strategic decision. Creating a personal vision is a powerful exercise. It's not a rigid blueprint, but a guiding star. Imagine yourself 5 or 10 years from now, living your most authentic, fulfilling life. What are you doing? Who are you with? How do you feel? This vision provides the motivation and direction for your daily choices, empowering you to resist distractions and external pressures that don't serve your ultimate purpose. The ripple effect of taking control is profound and far-reaching. When you embrace self-responsibility, set clear boundaries, and stand up for yourself, you don't just improve your own life, you positively influence those around you. Healthier relationships. People learn to respect your boundaries, leading to more authentic and less resentful interactions. Increased productivity. By saying no to distractions, you free up time and energy for what truly matters, leading to greater focus and accomplishment. Enhanced well-being. Reduced stress, less resentment, and a greater sense of agency contribute to improved mental and emotional health. Inspiration to others. Your courage and transformation can inspire friends, family, and colleagues to examine their own lives and take similar steps. You become a role model for empowerment. Greater fulfillment. Living a life aligned with your values brings a deep sense of purpose and satisfaction. Sustaining your newfound strength requires ongoing vigilance and practice. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a lifelong journey. Regular self-reflection. Periodically review your boundaries, your values, and your goals. Are they still serving you? Do they need adjustment? Practice consistency. The more consistently you enforce your boundaries and assert your needs, the easier it becomes. Inconsistency sends mixed signals. Learn from setbacks. There will be times when you slip, say yes when you meant no, or fail to stand up for yourself. Don't view these as failures, but as opportunities to learn and recommit. Seek support. Continue to lean on a supportive network of friends, family, or professionals who encourage your growth. Prioritize self-care. Regularly replenish your physical, emotional, and mental reserves. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Self-care is not selfish. It's essential for maintaining your strength. Living a life of intentionality and control is the ultimate expression of self-responsibility. It's about consciously choosing your path rather than letting life choose for you. It's about honoring your truth, protecting your energy, and building a life that genuinely reflects who you are and what you desire. This is the promise of Resist, a life where you are not merely surviving, but truly thriving with unwavering strength and authentic control. Conclusion. The heart of this book delved into the transformative power of the word no, dissecting the common fears that hold us back from uttering it, and providing practical techniques to say it with grace, clarity, and conviction. We then expanded on this by examining the broader skill of standing up for oneself, distinguishing assertive communication from passive or aggressive approaches, and equipping you with strategies to advocate for your needs and opinions effectively. We acknowledged that this journey is not without its challenges, particularly when navigating existing relationships with new boundaries. We discussed how to communicate these changes, deal with resistance from others, and, when necessary, make the difficult decision to distance ourselves from toxic dynamics. Crucially, we also turned inward, recognizing and addressing the internal resistance, the inner critic, self-doubt, and impure motives that can sabotage our efforts. emphasizing the vital role of self-compassion and resilience. Finally, we looked ahead to the profound reward of this work, living a life of intentionality and control. This is a life where your choices are guided by your values and goals, where your time and energy are protected, and where you consciously design your existence rather than merely reacting to it. The ripple effect of this transformation extends beyond yourself, inspiring healthier relationships and a greater sense of fulfillment. The path to a life of true control is an ongoing one. It requires continuous self-awareness, consistent practice, and a steadfast commitment to your own well-being. There will be moments of discomfort, instances where you falter, and times when your resolve is tested. But with each boundary you set, each no you utter, and each time you stand firmly in your truth, you reinforce your self-worth and strengthen the muscle of your autonomy. Remember, resist is not about becoming rigid or unyielding. It is about cultivating a deep respect for yourself and your finite resources. It is about understanding that your capacity to give to others, to contribute meaningfully, and to live a joyful life is directly tied to your ability to protect and replenish yourself. Embrace the power of no. Begin today and continue to resist anything that diminishes your light. Your remarkable life is waiting for you to claim it.